Hello everyone, Maitland Cameron here, doing an M15 8-4 draft on Magic Online for sneakandshow.com. And we've opened a pack which has what is probably my least favourite card in the entire set, in Hornet Queen. It's definitely going to be what we pick here because it is, in my experience at least, quite unbeatable. Yeah, the old inbuilt 5-for-1 is definitely a powerful Magic card. I've lost this card many times. If that wasn't in the packet's a lot more boring. We've got Raise the Alarm, which is good white common and centerpiece to most of the white decks. Living Totem I've been quite impressed with. Nimbus of the Isles is sort of a filler card, but it's fine. Pillar of Light's okay. Carrion Crow is a fine man. Hammerhand could be quite powerful in the right deck. I'd take Raise the Alarm if the Hornet Queen wasn't here, but let's just snap that one off and be that guy. Okay, so here there's a Heat Raise, the best card in the pack. Elvish Mystic just works so well with the Hornet Queen though, and I just really want to try and the Heat Raise is obviously a better card, but I really want to lock in, maximize this Hornet Queen, and Elvish Mystic's probably the best card I could pick to do that. Invasive Species is also a really good green card, but I don't think it's really part of this deck. It's just sort of, helps buy time to get Hornet Queen out, which is fine, but I think you'd rather have different spells. It's more sort of the enter the battlefield effect deck or just random beatdown deck. Hunt the Week's also a good card. Skirmish is good. Quickling's a really fun card, and Coral Barrier is really sweet, but let's just grab this Mystic. Okay. This pack is fairly boring. Gather Courage is a fine pump spell, but not one that I'm super excited for picking up. I might just grab this Frostlinks, I think. It's probably the best card in the pack. Only it and Accursed Spirit are really what I'm looking at here. There's also Peel from Reality, but I think Frostlinks is a better tempo play normally. So we'll just grab that up. I just like having the body. And here, that's a fairly late Raise the Alarm. There's also Coral Barrier though. I think Coral Barrier fits in with the sort of control-y style that we're going to be going for here. Yeah, we could also take like the Necromancer's Assistant and hope to be able to Scavenger, or take one of those two and then go into some sort of reanimator deck, but I think I'd just rather take a control-y shell for the moment. So here we have a Bronze Sable, a Path Mage, an Invasive Species. I think I'm going to take the Invasive Species. It's still a big body, which can help you get to your late game. I do want a Path Mage in this style of deck, but I don't think you need to pick these up aggressively. I think I just want to cut off green. Bronze Sable might just be a better pick than either of those two, but at this stage in the draft, I'd like to sort of try and cut off green a bit. I don't know how highly people prioritise that Convoke Overrun that we just passed. I haven't seen anyone cast it, so I assume it's not a big signal or anything. So hopefully pack 2 we can get hooked up with the green goodies. What do we have here? So we could take the Nissa's Expedition and looks to be rampy, which I've seen people do with some amount of success. I don't know how much I like that. I just don't know if you can get enough fatties to make a strict ramp deck work. Gather Courage is also fairly reasonable. Rummaging Goblin is a good card for this style of deck. And we could potentially maybe splash it, or maybe we're not even blue. Let's just take the Goblin and go from there. Okay, Research Assistant is a card I quite like. There's also Gargoyle Sentinel, which is good. Undergrowth Scavenger we could end up supporting. Verdant Haven again if we wanted to do the ramp thing, but yeah, I'm just not sure what sort of fatties outside of the rare slot that you can really reliably pick up to make a ramp deck be consistent. I've faced against a ramp deck a couple of times, and as far as I recall, they were just ramping into like Garrick's, and I think it was just people that opened Garrick and wanted to play Garrick as fast as humanly possible. Okay, so we got another Coral Barrier. That's really late, I believe, for this card. This card's really strong. I really like it, so we're going to snap that off. Also, Generator Servant, which is fairly late there. Okay, what do we wheel from the opening pack? Nothing exciting, really. All the uncommons came back, which is fairly reasonable, as they were all pretty bad. Just grab this Naturalize for the board, if I can. Come on. Okay, I'll do it that way then. Coral Barrier came all the way around, and Invasive Species. Okay. Well, that's pretty sweet. So now, if we can pick up some Siege Worms, we have a lot of support for Siege Worm. With all these Coral Barriers, we can Convoke it down pretty early, which is pretty sweet. Yeah, Living Totems as well. Yeah, just like Convoke things in general. We've got a lot of support for that. And yeah, blues seem to be pretty open. I mean, those Coral Barriers we went around really late, and that's a pretty good common, so hopefully we're in a good seat for blue and we can get some good hookups in the remaining packs. Green didn't seem to be like super open, but we definitely didn't pass much, so hopefully pack 2 we can reap some rewards from that. Does this red arrow mean that they are... Oh no, they're back now. Yeah, they only have 8 picks to our... They've got a bit of a backlog of boosters. Okay, Gather Courage came all the way back, so maybe green is somewhat open. Yeah, I haven't seen anyone play this card. It seems fine, but the decks I've played haven't really wanted that sort. As an uncommon, you just don't see it as often, as well. And there's similar effects at common that you see more often, which does mean that people are less likely to play around it, so you can get someone more often with it. And the Scavenger came all the way back. That's fairly interesting. Let's take the card in our colour. Apparently I can't put cards straight into my sideboard for whatever reason. So we've got a couple of late things here, which is definitely a good sign. Last pick rare, fantastic. The money drafts are real. I'm fairly happy with how pack 1 went there. Would have been nice to get a bit stronger of a green signal opening the Hornet Queen, but let's see what we can do. Well, this pack is incredibly boring for us. I'm going to take and splash this Burning Anger, because it is not a reasonable magic card. It's very strong, makes stuff like our Invasive Species better, works well with Hornet Queen, the old Death Touch pinging combo, but yeah, so this pack's like Flesh to Dust is one of the better cards. The red Paragon's really good. All the Paragons are obviously really good. Sign in Blood's good, but not really much in our colours. Maybe we could wheel this Invasive Species again, or perhaps the Bronze Sable, but I imagine someone else takes the Bronze Sable. But yeah, we'll take the Burning Anger and try and pick up an Evolving Wilds. So here... So Murklurker's really strong, Nightfire Giant's really strong, but both of them are not in our colours, so they're not really options. There's Netcaster Spider, Peel from Reality. I think we'll just take the Spider. We've got a lot of 3-drops already, though, which definitely makes me hesitant. Maybe I just want the Peel. Having the Spider, I think, is pretty key to these sort of decks, not dying to flyers and such, though. And Peel's more sort of just a general card. We do have a lot of Coral Barriers, actually. Yeah, I'm going to take this Peel. It's just a really nice effect to have some number of. Take this Ancient Silverback. I think I'd like another good big fatty, and here's one of the better ones. Willforged Golem's also good, especially like coral barriers, and we should definitely try and pick some of those up. This Ancient Silverback, I've definitely lost a considerable amount of games just to someone casting him. Satia Wayfinder. This card I've been quite happy with. Can help us get lands to cast our big things. There's a decent amount of X1s in the format, so he actually trades off quite often. There's another Coral Barrier, but we've already got 3 of those, so I don't know how aggressively we need to continue picking them up. Amphin Path Mage here could be a fairly decent late game winning condition. It's fairly like Kurd Chieftain. Oh wait, we're red, and green. Yeah, we can potentially support this guy. Let's definitely pick that up. He is very, very strong. So we would love a, what is it called? Evolving Wilds. There's also things like Verdant Haven we could be taking, but I'd rather try and get some freer fixing. Chief Engineer is similar to Research Assistant, except that instead of having a ability that's relevant sometimes, here's an ability that is a lot less often to be relevant. So we will grab the Research Assistant. There's not a whole lot else in this pack. There is the Verdant Haven, but yeah, I think we can avoid doing that. Another Satia Wayfinder. Pick up enough of these guys, we might end up playing the Scavenger. So the question here is, do we want to go for the Scavenger plan, or just with the Willforged Golem that works with the Coral Barriers? I must admit, I am a sucker for the Scavenger. I just love this guy. He's my favourite card in the set. Let's take a Blastfire Bolt. We've already got a Naturalize, and we might end up maybe running it main, but more likely just as a board card. Let's take the Typhoid Rats out of the pool. Just take a card in our colours. Charging Rhino, sure. It's a decent man. Had to read this a few times, just because there's another card in the set that has to be blocked by, yeah, the Sliver has to be blocked by more than one creature, and then the Rhino can't be blocked by more than one creature. So the first time I played against this, I definitely didn't fully understand how it worked. So pack 2 was interesting. We got some big things with the Chieftain, the Burning Anger, the Silverback, and some more early defense, which is good. Potentially we have this Undergo Scavenger sub-theme. We've got a lot of creatures that we don't mind trading off with early. A lot of the old 1/3s, which makes the Scavenger better. We can rebuy our Wayfinders with the Peel and the Invasive Species. We can bin creatures to the Rummaging Goblin if we end up running that. Chief Engineer came back. That's interesting. 2 last pick rares. Oh man. The money from this draft is going to be off the show. So pack 3 we want to try and pick up, what's here? Ooh, another Elvish Mystic. That is fantastic. Another Ancient Silverback's good as well, but Elvish Mystic really sort of makes this deck work. I really like this just to have one more big fatty, but yeah, I'm going to grab this pretty hard. We want some fixing as well. That's probably the highest priority now. Is an Evolving Wilds, or geez, another Kurd Chieftain, okay. Yeah, now we just really want some fixing. 2 Kurd Chieftains is massive. That is a huge game. Okay, Jace's Ingenuity. Do we have anything for Broodkeeper? I don't, but with just the Burning Anger, that's not enough. So it's sort of Ingenuity or Wayfinder. I think it's just Ingenuity. It's just such a more powerful card. And it makes it, the Ingenuity means we can run ramp spells as well and not be as worried about running out of gas. Okay, so here we have Encrust is very heavy blue, which could be an issue. Tinkerer is never going to be turned on. There's another Invasive Species, but that's considerable tempo hit. I think I'm just going to take the encrust. We might not even play the invasive species we have, so I'm not super excited about picking that up. We've already got a naturalized, and the Negate is a fine card, but it's not one you need to aggressively pick up. And the Tinker is just a 2-3. We've already got a considerable amount of defense there. So even if the encrust comes down later because of the double blue, it's still an effect that we'd like to have access to. Meteorite, okay, that's not the most efficient form of fixing, but it does the job. It does what it says on the card. Okay, this is interesting. So we've got Living Totem, which is a really powerful card, and as we said, works well with our coral barriers. But Reclamation Sage is just it's just really strong. I've been really impressed with this card. There's a lot of random artifacts and enchantments that you want to be able to remove. And Living Totem in our deck, like it's more of a sort of like beatdown card, whereas we're like not beating down. So I think Reclamation Sage is going to be a better pick here. There's also another Netcaster Spider. Oh no, we haven't got a Netcaster Spider. Actually, I do just want the flying defense here. I thought we'd already picked one up. Grab this Wall of Mulch. There hasn't been any fixing in this pack, which is definitely of some concern. Like, even if we saw a Verdant Haven or something, we would have grabbed that. So our mana is going to be a bit awkward. The Wayfinders will help somewhat. I might pick this card here. We actually have some good creatures, so it's not the worst. We can go infinite with Coral Barrier or Hornet Queen, just bouncing and getting stuff. It could be a reasonable card. I don't think I'm going to play 2 Rummaging Goblins. Oh, let's get a Statute of Denial. Probably for the board. So we're at 29 at the moment. I don't think we need the pump spell. We're not really forcing damage through. Let's grab a Negate here. We've got some very good board options too, with the Naturalize, the Blastfire Bolt, the Negate, some early creatures, Counterspell. Maybe cut this invasive species. It just doesn't really add a lot to the deck. Maybe the Pretender, like... It is like, if the game does go like really late, we end up having heaps of mana at it will like sort of win any board stall, but I think that sort of effect might be better just coming out of the board for matchups where we think the game is going to go really late. Yeah, this deck ended up pretty good. Would have liked just like an Evolving Wilds or even a Verdant Haven or something just to make our mana a bit better. That as it is, I think we're going to just have to struggle through having suboptimal mana and quite powerful spells. Let's cut this in crust just to try and make our mana look a bit better. I would like to have this Pretender here, but I think it's just a bit silly. I don't mind having this Willforged Golem in though. That was a bit of a nice pickup. Splashing the Rummaging Goblin seems a bit loose. We'll just leave it to the 2 Curd Chieftains and the Burning Anger. So that's a 24. So the cards that are closest to being cut at the moment are the Wall of Mulch. Probably just that, really. Although I do like the early defense. We've got a considerable amount of early defense already. I don't think we really need this. We can bring it in if we do need it. Maybe Frostlinks isn't really doing a lot. We're not really very tempo-y. It is still decent just in like buying time and being a grey ogre. Actually, yeah, I don't really like Frostlings. And Wall of Mulch, being able to dig with our coral barriers is a nice option. Fill the bin for our undergrowth scavengers. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Our mana requirements aren't... I was going to say that aren't too bad, but then I saw Hornet Queen and, and these double greens, so I cleverly stopped myself from saying that. Let's see what Moto thinks. So that's 9. We can't count the meteorite for green, really. 5, 6 blue. Let's just go 3 red with the meteorite. We've also got wayfinders to try and dig for it. Like, we don't need chieftain. Like, turn 4 chieftain's obviously really good, but if we get it a bit later, that's fine. Got 6 there. So that's... I think that's about as good as it's going to get. It's obviously pretty shocking, but hopefully the wayfinders can help dig us through and find the colours we need, and we can get the right amount of early defense. And yeah, this deck's interesting. I could definitely see it being really good, or just drawing the wrong colours of mana. So we will I'll be back for round 1 and we'll see how it goes.